Buckle up, Central Texas. It's that time of year again. The Lone Star Gridiron Network is proud to present the Central Texas Huddle with your host, Mike Mahurin, at the mic. This is the time when the lights shine brighter, the crowds roar louder, and every game feels like a battle. Whether it's for a district title, a state championship, or simply to claim bragging rights for another year against the rival school across town. From Cisco to Madisonville, Three Rivers to Brady, and all teams from 6A Giants all the way down to 1A, our Central Texas teams are gearing up to give it their all on the field for their fans. Just imagine the thrill of that first touchdown, the excitement of a game-winning play, and the camaraderie that brings our communities together. This isn't just a high school football podcast. This is the continuing story of Friday Night Lights in Texas. And whether you're cheering from the stands or tuning in from home, this season promises unforgettable moments and heart-pounding action. So, grab your jerseys, paint your faces, and get ready to support your favorite Central Texas high school football teams. Let's make the 2024 Central Texas High School Football Season 1 for the history books. Stay tuned each week for the new report, because we're going to bring you all the highlights, interviews, and behind-the-scenes stories right here. Get ready, Central Texas. High school football is back, and it's going to be bigger and better than ever. So huddle up, and let's go!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the Central Texas Huddle. I'm your host, Mike Mahurin on the mic, and this week's shows will feature several of the key games from the previous weekend of Thursday, October 31st, and Friday, November 1st. As we're nearing the final week of the season, we're going to be focusing on the ranked teams in each class and division in the Central Texas region that we're likely to be seeing more of in the upcoming playoffs in the next couple of weeks. Plus, we also have an exclusive interview with head coach Doug Riedel, the coach of the District 11-5A Division II Bastrop Bears. Now, you're really going to want to stick around to catch this interview for sure. Just a reminder that our title sponsor for the Central Texas Huddle this year is HAP Insurance Agency in College Station, Texas. And while there's just 1 week left in the regular season play for most of the teams in Central Texas, HAP Insurance Agency tells me they still have appointment slots open now for Medicare annual enrollment, as well as ACA marketplace plans and small business group benefits open enrollment that began Friday, November 1st. Now, since HAP Insurance Agency is your one-stop independent insurance agency in Texas for health insurance, Medicare Advantage, supplemental insurance, and small employer group benefits, there's no need to wait until the last minute to get your appointment. Since they're brokers, they have access to all major national carriers, so they can find the plan and the carrier that best fits your unique needs. And best of all, you never pay anything for their services. HAP Insurance Agency does all the legwork, and they make shopping for your health insurance and benefits simple. So you should do like the hundreds of other individuals and small businesses across Texas that have already partnered with HAP Insurance Agency do. You need to give them a try because they'll treat you right. Now, if you'd like to make an appointment, you can contact Holly Pritchard directly at HAP Insurance Agency at 972-897-0814, or you can email at hapinsuranceagency, that's all one word, at gmail.com. Again, that's hapinsuranceagency at gmail.com, or call them at 972-897-0814 and get your appointment set up for your health insurance benefits today. So without any further ado, let's get started with Division 1A matchups in D2. Starting with the Copperell Eagles traveling to Morgan to play the Eagles. So it's a battle of the Eagles today. And in this game, Copperell came away with a shutout over Morgan by a score of 45-0. Next up, we had the three-way school Braves hosting the number 7 ranked Iredell Dragons. Iredell came in at number 7, and they maintained that ranking while improving to 8-2 overall by taking it to through a school by a score of 61-0. Next, we have the number 6 ranked Cherokee Indians hosting the Buchholz Badgers, and the 8-1 Indians just clipped the Badgers by a score of 52-0. Last in 1A D2, we had the Mount Calm Panthers traveling over to Trinidad to take on the Trojans there. And Mount Calm calmed down Trinidad by a score of 67-20. Next up, we have Class 1A, Division 1, starting with the number 2 ranked Abbott Panthers hosting the Penelope Wolverines at home. The Panthers maintained their number 2 rank and improved to 9-0 for the season by spanking the Wolverines by a score of 48-0. Next, we have the number 4 ranked May Tigers traveling down to Lomita to take on the Hornets. 9-0 May stung the Hornets at their home field this time by a score of 66-18. Next, we have the High Island Cardinals hosting the Apple Springs Eagles at their home yard there. But sadly, the Cardinals fell as prey to the Eagles, enduring a 46-0 shutout in front of their home fans at the hands of Apple Springs. That brings High Island's record to officially 0-2 on the season, with their 7 other games having been canceled, which is, I guess, a hazard in Division 1A. But anyway, moving on. Last game we're going to take a look at is the Prairie Lee Indians hosting the Runge Yellow Jackets, and Prairie Lee defended their undefeated 5-0 record with a solid drubbing of the Yellow Jackets. It's unfortunate for Prairie Lee that their other 4 scheduled games had been canceled. Who knows, if they'd have won a few of those 4 games that had been canceled, maybe they'd be ranked up there in the top 10 as well. I guess we'll never know. Next, we move on to Class 2A, starting in Division 2 with the Frost Polar Bears traveling to the number 1 ranked Mart Panthers for a game with the number 1 team in 2A, and Mart served and held on to its number 1 ranking as the Panthers easily chilled out the Polar Bears by a score of 72-8. That brings Mart's record to 8-1 on the season. Next, we have a home game with the Junction Eagles hosting the LaPrire Bulldogs, and the number 10 Junction Eagles improved to 8-1 with an impressive home victory over LaPrire by a score of 55-0. Next, we have the Shiner Comanches, the number 9 ranked Shiner Comanches, hosting the Louise Hornets. And there really wasn't a contest here. The Comanches just pounded the Louise Hornets by a score of 70-0, running roughshod over Louise. But I did want to make note that of one special player for Shiner who was making his scoring debut. That was freshman running back Colby Nichols. And Colby happens to be the son of my old friend from Texas Instruments up in Dallas, Dana Burnett Nichols. Colby scored his first varsity TD, and then they kept him on the field for the ensuing 2-point conversion and scored there too. So I want to give a big shout out and congratulations to Colby, his mama Dana, and his dad Trent Nichols. We look forward to seeing more good things from Colby in the years to come with the Shiner Comanches. Okay, moving on to Class 2A Division 1. We're starting with a home game with the Ganado Indians hosting the Bloomington Bobcats. Ganado improves to 8-1 with a dominating shutout at home over Bloomington by a score of 86-0. But as fate would have it, they actually dropped in the rankings this week from number 3 to number 4. All I can say is their opponent this week, who happens to be the Danbury Panthers, better buckle up their chin straps, because I think Ganado's going to be looking to make a statement this week after getting a little shame from that. Speaking of Danbury, they're the next team we're going to be taking a look at. They traveled over to Schulenburg to take on the Shorthorns, and the Shorthorns kind of declawed Danbury's Panthers by a score of 42-0. Next, we have the number 7 ranked Mason Punchers traveling to Johnson City to take on the Eagles. Mason improved to 8-1 on the season and moved up one spot in the rankings from number 8 to number 7 by knocking out Johnson City at home by a score of 63-17. And lastly, we're going to take a look at the Moody Bearcats hosting the Riesel Indians on Friday night, and the Indians took it to the Bearcats by a score of 48-7. Next up, we're going to look at Class 3A, starting with Division 2. First game is the number 3 Poth Pirates. They traveled to San Antonio to take on the San Antonio YMLA Lions. Number 3 Poth improves its record to 9-0 on the season with another dominating shutout victory on the road by a score of 49-0. All eyes are going to be on their final game this coming Friday, November 8th, against the Dilley Wolves, who are 8-1, and the winner of that is going to decide the District 15 3A title. So that's going to be a very exciting game, and look for another tight game played. Next, we have the ARP Tigers hosting the number 4 ranked New Diana Eagles. And there's another 9-0 team in 3A Division 2 as New Diana took it from ARP, the Tigers losing to New Diana by a score of 41-16. Next up, we have the Comfort Bobcats hosting the number 8 Lexington Eagles, and if you're sensing a pattern here among these matchups this week, Lexington blew out the Bobcats by a score of 62-0. They went a long way to get there. I was looking this up on the map. Lexington has to drive from Lexington down State Highway 21 to San Antonio, then around the north side of San Antonio, and then up I-10 to Comfort. It's about a 3-hour and 15-minute drive, but it was worth it as he put down the Bobcats at their home field by a comfortable margin. Bad pun. Long way to go for a ball game, but great job, Eagles. Lastly, we have the Stockdale Brahmas traveling to Natalia to take on the Mustangs. Stockdale Brahmas 42, Natalia Mustangs 6. Next, we're going to take a look at the ranked teams in Class 3A Division 1, starting with the number 3 Hitchcock Bulldogs, taking on the Yoakum Bulldogs in a battle of the Bulldogs, of all things. We had Eagles versus Eagles before, now we got Bulldogs against Bulldogs. What's going on here? Anyway, Hitchcock showed its number 3 ranking was well-deserved as they took care of the Yoakum Bulldogs by a score of 35-14. Next up, we have the number 4 Columbus Cardinals hosting the Hallettsville Brahmas, and Columbus took this one without much of a problem over Hallettsville by a score of 42-12. Next, we have the number 5 Palestine Westwood Panthers going down to Fairfield's home field to take on the Eagles. And Palestine stayed undefeated, improving to 9-0 after crushing the Eagles at home by a score of 62-39. Last up in the ranked teams, we have the Franklin Lions at the number 8 ranking, taking on the Cameron Yeomen. 6-2 Franklin debuted in the state rankings at number 9 last week, and they improved to number 8 after almost doubling up the Cameron Yeomen by a score of 69-35. Next, we take a look at the Class 4A matchups starting in Division 2. First game we take a look at is the number 10 ranked Waco La Vega Pirates hosting the Waco Connolly Cadets, and they weren't very good hosts because they didn't let Connolly score. They took it to the Cadets by a score of 31-0. Next, we had the Madisonville Mustangs traveling to the number 8 Belleville Brahmas, and they did a little better than Waco Connolly against La Vega, but still the Brahmas went over 2 times their score by taking them by a score of 47-21. Next, we have the number 6 ranked Wimberley Texans going to Smithville to take on the Tigers, and wasn't much of a game. Wimberley shut out the Tigers by a score of 56-0. They were at number 6 coming into that game, and over the weekend they were re-ranked up to number 4. So congratulations to Wimberley. Last game we're going to look at is the China Spring Cougars hosting the Lorena Leopards, and this one actually was a bit of a nail-biter. China Spring, though, did come out on top by a score of 38-35. So the Cougars beat the Lorena Leopards by a score of 38-35. Next up in Class 4A, we're going to take a look at the Division I matchups, starting with Austin LBJ hosting the Taylor Ducks at their home field. The Jaguars pretty much devoured the Ducks in short order by a score of 46-14. Next, we had Stephenville hosting the Brownwood Lions at their home field, which evidently they renamed their stadium after their former coach Art Briles that night. So kind of a festive night in Stephenville, and they gave their fans a taste of the old days under Coach Briles. The Yellow Jackets took down the Lions of Brownwood by a score of 44-0. Next, we have the number 5 ranked San Antonio Davenport Wolves traveling to Canyon Lake to take on the Hawks of Canyon Lake. San Antonio Davenport improves to a 9-1 record on the season after crushing the Hawks at their home field by a score of 61-42. Last game in 4A Division I we're going to take a look at is Lampasas traveling down to Marble Falls to take on the Mustangs. And Lampasas, the Badgers, stomped the Mustangs by a score of 61-7. So now we're going to move on to Class 5A. But before that, I want to mention that once again we had that post-game interview with Bastrop Bears head coach Jake Gridiron after their win last Friday night at Pflugerville by a score of 38-28. This is Bastrop's 6th straight win of the season after a pretty horrible 1-2 start, but they've all been district wins, and so that finds them tied at 6-0 in 5A District 11 5A Division 1. Sorry about that. And they're going to be taking on the number 6th ranked Liberty Hill Panthers this coming Friday night, November 8th. Coach Riedel's Bears have a chance this coming Friday night if they can win against Liberty Hill, which is a tall order. They'll claim the district title outright. So we'll listen to Coach Riedel talk about that great win at Pflugerville and what's coming up this week now, and we'll be back shortly with the rest of the games to review.
Congrats on the win tonight. What did you learn about your team?
We're resilient. Our kids have been getting better every week, and the first half we played extremely good football. Gave up 7 points, scored 31, and just we were clicking on all levels. And as we continue to try to become a good football team and take that good football team to becoming a great football team, it's about finishing games. And we kind of hit a lull there in the third quarter, and Pflugerville did a good job with some halftime adjustments to create problems for us. But the momentum swung and you could feel it, but our kids just kept swinging the axe and kept doing their job until the job got done. And so that was so awesome to see tonight with our kids. So awesome.
What does a win like this do for your team, especially going into a big game next week against Liberty Hill for a district title?
I think everything. It's just confidence. We're dealing with 15, 16, 17-year-old kids, and God, they put so much time into this game, and when you can come out in a game that is just going to be a straight war like this one, and come out victorious. Like, it just gives you that confidence that you need to continue to take another step forward. Liberty Hill is going to be a handful, and we know that. But our goal for them is that Liberty Hill is that we're a handful for Liberty Hill. And so, what we're going to do is we're going to enjoy this one, and then we're going to hit the drawing board and figure out a way to see if we can go compete for a district championship.
This is probably one of the best basketball teams that you've had in a while. How does it feel to be bringing basketball back to this position? Yeah,
it's awesome. This town deserves it. This town deserves it. This community deserves it. These kids deserve it. We work like an elite program, and we're not quite there yet, but that's how we work. And we're there's a saying in the coaching profession that when you take over a program, it's kind of a 4-year process. Year 1, you lose big. Year 2, you lose small. Year 3, you win small. Year 4, you win big. And we're in that phase, and we're starting to win. And for this community, it's outstanding. But more so for the kids inside those locker room walls, it's awesome to see them do things that maybe a few years ago they didn't believe they could. Now they are.
For guys like Ramon Adams, what can you say about his performance?
He's a player, gamer. You see him come out every Friday and do his thing, but like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you see him do it in practice, and so that's why he's a great player. Our kids are becoming better and better practice players as we go along, which is why we're having more and more results on Friday that we want.
Coach, thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
Are you ready to take your game to the next level? Whether you're an athlete, coach, or just someone striving for more success in life, the Winner's Workshop is your secret weapon. Yes, this award-winning course has transformed thousands of lives, teaching the game-changing principles of sports psychology that Fortune 500 companies, coaches, and top performers all use to win. The Winner's Workshop, subtitled How Sports Psychology Can Make You a Champion, is now available on CoachTube for a fraction of the original $499 price. The Winner's Workshop will help you master focus, mindset, and breakthroughs to make you a champion. Click on the link in the show notes or head over to LoneStarGridiron.com and click on the ad today to unlock your full potential.
And we're back, and we hope you enjoyed that interview with Bastrop Bears head coach Jake Gridiron. We're going to move on to the Division II matchups in 5A, starting with, you guessed it, the number 2 Alamo Heights Mules. They hosted the Kerrville Tivy Antlers at the mule shop, I guess is what they call it, or the corral, I guess. That's their 10th straight win of the victory. 10th straight win of the season with that victory over the Antlers at their yard. Next, we have Austin Crockett traveling to the aforementioned Liberty Hill to take on the Panthers. The Cougars really didn't do much against the Panthers. Liberty Hill took it to them by a score of 56-0. Next, we have the number 7 Brenham Cubs hosting the Waco University Trojans on Friday night the 1st. And Cubs again come out with another victory by a score of 43-7 over Waco University Trojans. Last up in 5A D2 is the San Antonio Harlandale Indians traveling to San Antonio Veterans Memorial to take on the Patriots. And the Patriots came out on top over the Indians by a score of 49-33. Next up, we have 5A Division I matchups to look at, starting with those College Station A&M Consolidated Tigers. The number 2 Tigers were taking on the Buda Hayes Consolidated Hawks in the battle of the consolidated high schools, I guess. But A&M Consolidated kept up their undefeated season to go to 9-0 with a shutout of Buda Hayes Consolidated by a score of 49-0. So another great job by the Tigers. Next, the other College Station high school team, the number 5 ranked College Station High Cougars, traveled to Pflugerville Weiss to take on the Wolves there. Cougars had a little bit of a tight game there with the Wolves, but they ended up going to 9-1 with a squeaker over the Wolves by a score of 44-38. So, great job there, Cougars. Next, we have the Victoria East Titans traveling to number 6 ranked San Antonio Piper to take on the Warriors. And the Warriors defeated the Titans by a score of 49-17. Last up, we have the New Braunfels Unicorns traveling to Seguin to take on the Matadors, and the Unicorns played like unicorns. They scored 41 and handily defeated the Matadors, who could only manage 24 points. So New Braunfels 41 over Seguin. And to wrap it up, we're going to go look at the 6A matchups for Region 4, which is Central Texas. Starting with the number 25 at the time, Austin Vandergrift Vipers. They took their show on the road to visit Round Rock Westwood to take on the Warriors, and they visited and they came out with a 49-0 shutout. That helped them improve a couple of spots in the rankings, and they're now after the weekend ranked number 23. So 2.2 rank steps up for Vandergrift. So congratulations again to the Vipers. Next, we have the number 23 San Antonio Brennan Bears hosting the San Antonio Taft Raiders, and they also moved up on the strength of a pretty strong. Cibolo Steel shuts out the New Braunfels Canyon Cougars by a score of 62-0. And with that performance, they also moved up two spots in the rankings from number 21 to number 19 this week. So lots of movement in the rankings because of strong performances by those top teams. Next, we have the number 16 Lake Travis Cavaliers traveling to Austin Aikens to take on the Eagles. And just like the other ones we talked about before, another shutout. The Cavaliers pitched a shutout against the Eagles by a score of 51-0. And then the last game we're going to take a look at is Austin Westlake, number 11 ranked Chaparrals, hosting the Del Val Cardinals. And what would it be in 6A Region 4 but another shutout? Austin Westlake Chaparrals shut out the Del Val Cardinals by a score of 77-0. So that's it for the Huddle this week. Want to make sure that you guys have an amazing week this coming week, and be sure to head out to this coming Friday night to your favorite Central Texas high school team's game, because pretty soon this 2024 high school football season is just going to be a memory for a lot of these teams, and these teams are going to be left to consider what they could have done differently to have a better record this season. But I still think, they all work so hard, all the players, the cheerleaders, the marching bands, the drill teams, the parent groups that help the drill teams, and heck, even the concession stand workers. If it takes all of them to create the full spectacle that is Texas high school football that I love, and I know that you do too. And be sure to turn in again next week, because maybe I'll be talking about that same game you saw in next week's Huddle. This is Mike Mahurin on the mic again, and I hope you stay safe this week, and I am out.